Hey everybody, Anna Vicino here, author of Eat Happy and Eat Happy Too. I'm going to be making faster carnitas for my first cookbook, Eat Happy. Right now, I'm up at the crack of dawn because we have a party to go to that I'm going to bring this carnitas to, so I need to start it because it takes 4-ish hours of prep. So I'm up early, I put on makeup, which now I come to find when I look into the camera, you can't even see the makeup. This is me with makeup. We're gonna be making this lovely, faster carnitas. I have a beautiful 5-pound roast. The recipe calls for a 2 to 4 pound roast. I got a 5-pound roast because we've got 14 people, well, 3 of them are vegetarians. So 11 people who are gonna be partaking of this, and you want a bone-in pork shoulder or pork butt. I am not gonna trim any fat off of it, but let me set this aside because what we wanna do first is make the paste that's gonna go over this thing. Because my recipe calls for a 2 to 4 pound roast, and this is a 5-pound roast, I am going to 1.5 times the recipe. I'm gonna do, instead of 2 tablespoons, I'm gonna do about 3 tablespoons of oil. Instead of 2 teaspoons of salt, I'm gonna do 3 teaspoons of salt. Shout out to Redmond's. Now the pepper, I'm just gonna be doing this for forever because I don't have pre-ground pepper, and I like to peppercorns work really well. All these years, I still don't have a fancy pepper grinder, and I should. Let's get about 1.5 teaspoons of freshly ground pepper. Oregano calls for 2 teaspoons, let's do 3 teaspoons. 1, 2, 3. Who's old enough to remember that? I'm gonna do 1.5 teaspoons of cumin. Or as Teresa Giudice says, cumin. So now, I was gonna show you the mini whisk and do it that way, but I think it's gonna work better. Now this is my new obsession, the tiny wooden spoon. A must-have in the kitchen. We're just gonna turn this into a little schmutzy paste. I smell the olive oil, I smell the oregano. It smells amazing. Let's coat this puppy. Here's where it gets a little messy. So let's start to smear this thing with this beautiful paste. And like I mentioned, there's a big swath of fat on here. I'm not gonna cut this off. I'm gonna leave that on this roast. And that is because I want it all to cook in the slow cooker on high for 4 hours. I want all that fat to render and be delicious. The key to carnitas is that you cook it so it gets nice and tender in the slow cooker, and then you twice bake it, so you put it in the oven to crisp up, and so it has that texture. Oh, I love it. Now, I love this little side here, so I'm gonna use a leftover, whatever I can scrape out of the pan, and get this thing going. Oh no, we're not gonna, no. We're not gonna miss out on any of that. Don't worry, all the flavors will get in there, and that's how you season this carnitas roast. All right, we are back, and I'm going to start to assemble. I'm gonna assemble how this is gonna go in the slow cooker. First of all, it calls for 1 sweet onion. I did 2 sweet onions. We're gonna dump those in. You can either put the roast on top of the onions or put the roast below the onions. Doesn't matter. I'm gonna leave the fatty side up. Garlic. Yes, we should be using fresh garlic cloves. I feel like being lazy and using some pre-minced garlic. It's okay, it saves you lots of time, and we like to save time. I call for about 5 cloves of garlic, so I'm just gonna kinda spread these on top. And now my favorite part of carnitas is that we're gonna use orange juice and cinnamon to really bring these flavors to life. I'm using a Valencia orange. This is the juice that the carnitas is gonna braise in. The recipe calls for the juice of a whole orange, since this is so big and I wanna make sure the flavor gets on there, but I'm gonna do an orange and a half. The orange is helping with flavor, the acid is helping break down all of that muscle meat and fat into a beautiful, delicious flavor. You need acid to balance out the richness of this meat. And then a dusting of cinnamon. Does anybody else label their spices? That's a pretty thick dusting, but I like a lot of cinnamon, what can I say? I like cinnamon with my savory. And then we're gonna cover it. Okay, I'm gonna start this thing 4 hours on high, and I will be back in 4 hours, go live my life, and we will separate it, put it in the oven to crisp up, and then I'll be ready to bring to the party. Faster carnitas, it already smells heavenly in here. I can't wait till it cooks for 4 hours. We'll be back. It's been about 4.5 hours. This is cooking on high. Since it's a larger roast, it's taking a little extra time. That's okay. You can always open it up and kind of poke it with a fork and see if it's ready. I'm gonna be using these culinary claws, and I have a foil lined tray here, and I'm gonna be splitting this up, discarding the bone and putting the meat on here. If you want some culinary claws so you can look like Wolverine, you can order some down below. I'll link to it down below. I'm gonna turn this over because the tenderest part is at the bottom. Oh, it's already started to separate. I just got some on my shirt. Definitely want to wear an apron for this part. We're gonna get rid of this bone and these larger pieces of fat. But now I'm gonna take these separated pieces, put it on here, and separate it, and it makes the tenderest, most delicious pieces. I'm gonna get those onions on there, and we'll be back when we've filled up this tray. Okay, we did the culinary claws. I have put as much meat as I can. I got rid of the big bone and any like egregious pieces of fat. And then I'm gonna take these extra drippings and just drip them over here. Basically, you wanna use as much of these juices as you can without overloading your tray. You don't want it to drip off the tray. And then I'm gonna put this in the oven at 300 for about 15-20 minutes. We just want it to crisp up, and we want those juices to soak into this delicious carnitas meat. And then when we serve it, you can serve it with tortillas, you can serve it plain, you can put on some queso fresco, some cilantro, a squeeze of lime. You can put on some radishes that I like to cut up, and I like to have it without the tortilla. Oh, it smells so good in here. I can't wait. I have made faster carnitas from Eat Happy, my first cookbook, and this is ready. Let's find a good crisp piece there. This thing, it's so soft and tender. I'm gonna take some lime and squeeze it right on there and eat it straight from the pan.